Oh no, the sky is falling. Hi, it's Carrie and Shaw, Key Associate Signature Realty. Welcome back to our channel, living on the Ohio River, Indiana, Kentucky, either side. Today I'm actually going to do something different than I normally do. I always do a little bit more about the area and just tours, but I'm going to kind of talk about the market. Is the sky falling? Everybody hears the news, and as why I do talk about the market, which is my main focus. I am going to kind of do, oops, sorry, my thing just moved. It's not the best. Kind of talk about why I'm touring. I'm going to tour kind of the countryside of more the south west side of Indiana. We're going to start heading into Newburgh, why I talk about the topic, and then kind of go into Evansville area and then kind of finish up. So not really the focus of the tour, but you can view what's going on while I talk. So the sky is falling. All the news we hear, we're in a huge recession. Just thought I'd talk about it. You know, I've been in real estate for about, I don't know, almost 18 years, which, wow, I can't believe it's been 18 years. Been through the last, which I'd say is crash. I was in real estate for 3 years before the crash in the 2008 hit me. So, you know, I was on the top of the game and then it hit and kind of, you know, obviously know what that's all about. So are we there now? And why I'm doing this video, especially for sellers, if you're watching this, as well as buyers, if you're entering the market or scared of entering the market. You know, there's news all over the headlines, and it's kind of like, you know, obviously it's all the U.S. in what we're hearing, and everybody's scared, but there are markets within markets, guys. So, you know, just because they have, you know, the generic percentage, I think what they say 4.8%, we've seen as a reduction in values from just the last 30 days with over the whole United States. That doesn't mean it is in each market. So we're going to talk about Indiana, Kentucky, specifically more southwest Indiana right now, because that's the stats I looked at, and kind of just talk. Yes, we are in a little bit of a shift. Are values going down? Are you scared that if you buy a house that tomorrow you're going to lose 20%? No, I don't think we're there at all. I do not have a crystal ball. I can tell you that I do follow a lot of the people that do have money, and it's worth watching just to kind of see what they're doing with their money, like the Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, those kind of people. What are they doing with their money? So kind of following them, just seeing what's happening, what are they doing, and just, you know, generically watching the market. And honestly, we are in a lagging, if you look at lagging things in the market, real estate is that. Like everything that I can look at, we are 30 days back. So we're not leading, I'm lagging. I can tell you that even when you're looking at real estate, everything really happens 30 days back, because that's just naturally how the process goes with real estate. So what am I seeing? What am I seeing here in the area of Indiana, Kentucky? We are definitely making a little bit of a turn. Things are changing. They are shifting. Values are not, in my opinion, like just falling out of the sky like everybody says. But things are changing. And what am I seeing a lot of? And you have to think about my history. I am very much someone that does a lot of listings. So I do have a good pulse on the market with sellers for sure. And one thing that sellers, if you're watching this, you got to have a change of mindset a little bit. It's re-education. You know, in the past, if you look back the last year, you know, sold in hours and multiple offers and bidding war and 50,000 over. I mean, just crazy stuff that I hadn't seen in my whole 18 years of real estate happened this last year, year and a half. Are we there now? I'm not saying that we aren't. Markets are within markets, maybe even different towns, subdivisions, whatever it may be. There is still that, yes. Other areas, no. What I am starting to see, and I'm trying to re-educate the seller's mindset, is things are not moving as quickly. People put that imaginary, this is what I can't stand, is I'll go into a listing appointment and people just want their values of whatever their value is. Like, the market's great. I know it's great. I'm going to get over asking price. I want this price. Not looking at comps, not anything, just pull a figure out of their head. Well, that is not the case anymore. I am starting to see houses sit on the market longer, 30 days potentially, not hours. I'm seeing a lot of price changes, which means that people are wanting their figure and they're not getting them. So there is a mindset change, sellers, that you are gonna have to start looking at. Your house may not be on the market hours. I'm actually seeing within my brokerage sellers getting upset and maybe wanting a release because their house hasn't sold. Well, you know what, sellers, things are changing. Are your values falling? I'm not saying they're falling. I'm just saying you're not going to put ridiculous prices out there anymore and then just expect to be flying off the market. And you got to understand that it may not be hours, it may be 30 days, it may be 45 days. The market is shifting a little bit. Now, do we still have months of inventory in favor of the seller? Yes. There still is a lot of inventory out there. I looked just the last 30 days from Southern Indiana Association of Realtors, that actual section, I guess, of Indiana. There was 332 new homes, pending 513, and currently active 617. So yes, it's still favorable for the sellers, but it is shifting. It is opening up you buyers. If you are starting to look, it is not so competitive. It actually will allow you to, maybe get in there and not be so much of in a bidding war and competing. By the way, we are driving through right now Newburgh. We're coming into Newburgh. So just wanted to point out if you are watching where I'm driving. But we will be heading into Newburgh, and then what I'm going to do is actually go into downtown, the old Newburgh, and then over kind of into Evansville, that direction, kind of following the river, but you're not going to see the river. But what I am noticing is a lot of my houses are not flying off the market like they were. I've been educating my sellers. Obviously, did interest rates affect things? Yes. Does inflation affect things? Yes. Things are changing. I looked at price changes the last 30 days, 228. So definitely something is happening. So sellers, when you're sitting down to put your house on the market, really look at the comps. Really look at what's going on in the market. Listen to your real estate agent, because there is things changing and the expectations need to be understood that it isn't the same way. You can't just put your house $50,000 and expect that you're going to get offers. It may sit. And the value, I actually did look at like the values compared to inventory. The values are staying good. I did look at that for the last 30 days, but the days on market are definitely picking up, as well as inventory is starting to increase a little bit. So that is a good thing for the buyers here in the Southern Indiana area specifically, because that's the data I'm looking at. But what is that going to do to us, guys? Like, what is this market? What is happening? Inflation obviously is it's here. I mean, I think what was it? I can't even remember the exact number. Was 6-point-something% in the last May increase in inflation. Gas, food, it's all affecting us. And then you obviously have interest rates. Those two things are making it tighter on the buyers. The buyer demand has dropped off, sellers. It is not like it was. They're very much more cautious. And when you look at the markets, sellers, there's always a market for real estate. Basically, there's sellers and there's buyers. And it's what is that buyer willing to pay for that house, right? That is supply and demand. So when it's all said and done, you're going to sell. It's just you got to make sure you stay in the supply and demand and what they're willing to pay. So you put a house on the market, obviously the buyers they're there. Believe me, I just had a house that was a nice house. I thought it was, a little high, but not too bad. But if you get it right and you put it in the right price point, the buyers are still there. It's supply and demand. The buyers will pay, obviously, for a house that is in the right price. And so you have to think about it. The markets are whatever the sellers or whatever the buyers are willing to pay for your house is the market. So that is what's going to change here. Our market is still strong. Don't get me wrong. But again, I feel like we're at the top moving over. But we cannot any longer ignore, I can't, I'm surprised we didn't have kind of more of a recession a few years ago, honestly. But, the Fed has changed. They're not printing money anymore. They printed money way too long. In regards, I'm babbling and trying to talk. We are going into Newburgh, by the way. So I hope I don't wreck and talk. But if you really go back, this has really been kicking the can down the road since, honestly, the first crash. I mean, bailing people out and just everything we've had from 2008 to now. It baffles me that we haven't hit it yet. So, yes, we are in a recession, obviously. And I feel like if you watch the news, it can be scary, but I honestly don't even feel like the news is reflecting what really is happening here. Things are going to change. I lived through one of them, and I feel like it's coming. Is it going to be like the last one? No. We are in territory that is so different when people compare us to 2005. Yes, that was bad loans. I mean, there was a whole different animal, but we are in inflationary times that we've never seen in decades, guys. And it's starting to do a crunch. We got gas, we got food. There's a point where people, if this keeps up, and I really do believe it's going to keep up. I mean, how can it not? We have things going on, with the war, Ukraine, fertilizers, everything, the whole food supply chain. I don't even think it's there yet, to be honestly, with what we can see. And I may be all over the board. Sorry, guys, but just listen, I'm driving and talking. But there's planting that has not taken place, in the Ukraine. Plus over here, fertilizers that people have not been able to get, or it's too expensive, whatever. In regards to the farmers, there is a lag that we haven't even seen yet of food supply chain and what that's going to do to us. So that is coming. I don't know how much it will be. I have no idea. I don't have the crystal ball, but it is coming. Gas, same way. Obviously that's a pinch on a lot of people's budgets, driving around, and, between adding food and gas alone and not everything else, which there's more out there with the supply chain, that's pinching families. Then you add interest rates, so your buyers are being very cautious. But when it's all said and done, guys, is it the right time to buy? If you're talking to the buyers, if you need a house right now and it's your situation, it always will be, look at it as it's not, is it the right time to buy because of interest rates? What is the right time for your family? Your own financial budgets, your own financial wherewithal. Is it the right time? You just have to analyze that. And if you need help, I'd be more than happy to help you. But there is things that it's always the right time for you as your specific situation in your family. So, I don't know your finances. Interest rates, honestly, interest rates to me, this is when I bought my first house. Interest rates are where they're at right now is probably when I bought my first house, which would have been, 20 something years ago. It's been a while, 25, I don't know. But, so I bought my first house, and these interest rates, they're not crazy prices. We're not in the 80s when they were at 20%. They just aren't the good old 3% that we did have. So you just have to look at your budget and look at what you're doing in regards to your family and what's best for you. But it is tightening things up, definitely tightening things up. So I know I'm all over the board, but things are changing. Is it going to get worse? Well, how can it not? Honestly, I don't have a crystal ball, but things are going to happen in this market. The Fed is changing things. The money is tightening up. We definitely, the Fed is tightening their budget up. They have to make more inflationary times for us to really get back into, at least getting a hold of this market. So we are now, as we're going through, this is Newburgh. We're going down to the old Newburgh. I'm getting sidetracked. Just bear with me. And I'll talk both ways here since we're talking about a little bit of everything. So we are actually heading to old, basically by the river. And there's some great subdivisions here along the way. But we actually, when we started back there, we were going through like the north side of Newburgh, so it was newer subdivisions, some in here too as well, pockets. But then we're going to head to mainly right to the river, where you'll see the downtown, and then we'll head over to Evansville. So what does all this mean? Should I sell my house? It's a great time to sell your house. The values are still there, guys. Don't worry about that. It's just, you got to reset your mind. It may not, we're not going to have a bidding war. Put it at market value. Don't puff it up thinking you can get any number you want, because that's not going to happen. And you got to have a mindset change that it could sit on the market. I remember when I was in real estate, homes sat on the market for 6 months. You know, it's not crazy. That's actually when you're in balance, 5 or 6 months of inventory. So, you know, now going 30 to 45 days is not insane. That doesn't mean the market is falling. It just means it's changing. You got to understand that. You got to have those expectations when you list, and work with your real estate agent. Watch that. It's critical to really watch your feedback, you know, how much your showings are, everything when you go on. And I'm very good about making sure that I do have those discussions with my sellers. And if I feel like, you know, based off feedback and what they're saying, I will get a house sold if I know the buyers there. They're there. Trust me. I had one that reduced and wasn't getting a whole lot of showings, reduced it. All of a sudden went to 3 or 4 showings that day. So the buyers are there, guys. We are in downtown Newburgh right now. Isn't it cute? See the river down there? We are going to take a right and now head to Evansville. So whoever your real estate agent is, me, whoever, call me if you need help. Listen to them. We've been in the business. We know the business. We have a pulse on the business. We are watching. I am watching, and just seeing how things are playing out. I watch other listings that come on, what activity they're having, or I can tell, or even talking to other agents. So sellers, make sure you do that if you're listing. And it is still a good time to list. Don't feel like it's not. And buyers, again, it's good for you because we are starting to let up a little bit. So it's not so competitive for you. And just because interest rates have risen doesn't mean it's not a good time to buy. Like I said, it's always what your family situation is. Are you someone that is, you know, basically in a smaller house, needs to get a bigger house because you're basically, you know, growing as a family, or, you know, whatever, maybe you have a huge house and you need to downsize. You know your situation, you know your finances. When it's all said and done, you just have to make a smart decision and understand all angles of the process. So, but yes, is the market gonna tank? No, I don't think it's gonna tank. Is it gonna change? It is going to change, and don't think it's not. There's too many indicators around the world, and we are a world market, guys. There is pockets, yes. You know, we have pockets here where we're at, and every market is going to have supply and demand, or I mean, honestly, you know, look at it from a standpoint of you're going to be affected by certain areas of even this area where there may be subdivisions that don't fall at all because of what it is, and maybe it's so unique and you can't get it, that aren't going to change. And then there's other areas that, you know, there's a million of them, and yes, they're going to change because of the situation of what it is. But we are in world markets, guys. There's things going on all around the world, and we are all connected, which I do think is interesting, because if you look at the markets, I really feel like from the U.S. standpoint, we are pulling more in, almost back to like revolutionary. I mean, think about it, the industrial age, we're bringing more back to the U.S. For the sake of, you know, supporting ourselves and making sure that we have what we need here on our own turf. So that part's interesting to me, to see things changing a little bit and bringing things back and not being so connected worldly. But we are connected. Things are, like, just like I said, food. Ukraine affects us with oil. It affects us with farming, grain. I mean, there's things not being planted there because of that war, and we're not going to see that here when it's time. So things will be different there. Fertilizers, same thing. Fertilizers got so expensive because of being produced in that area. I mean, just even interest rates. You know, they're selling off they're selling off the loans, the Fed, and you have more institutional money coming in and backing those, not Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So that's going to change things. You know, that's why you're obviously seeing some of this interest rates go up. They got to recoup. They're not going to, you know, buy those bad loans or even get something where they're not making money when inflation's so high. So that's interesting to point out. Just so many things going on. And I'll get into more of these videos. Like I said, I'm just driving. We are now heading into Evansville, by the way, guys. This is 69 that I just went under. But things to look at. You know, we are not, obviously, we are in the recession. I mean, we are heading there. And people feel the pain. Stock market is down. If you are a big investor in the stock market, you're feeling it. That's for sure. And a lot of people will hedge with real estate going into inflation. So, you know, obviously that's why we haven't seen a huge impact there just yet, but it will come. And one thing to consider, guys, if you do feel the pain of gas and food and it becomes an issue where you need to sell your house, remember you have tons of equity. It's not like last time where, you know, we were short selling and prices were dropping. I mean, depending on when you bought, you might have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your house. You don't know, depending, maybe 50, maybe it depends on what it is. So remember that, you know, if you're in that pinch, ask a realtor, get a value, because you probably have a lot of equity in the house. So I think that's what's going to be different a little bit than last time for sure as well. All you people that are in houses, keep that in mind if you get feeling that pain as we travel into this unknown territory. But again, you know, lots of things happening around the world. Follow the people that have the money. Obviously, people that have the money are probably way better and way smarter than me, but definitely are watching and interesting to see what they're doing with their money. So, you know, watch those people, see what they're doing, what they're talking about. That also is like a forecast to seeing what's going out there in the market. So basically, we are still driving. Now we are going into, headed towards Evansville. And what we're going to do actually is I'm going to my office, my new office, because I have to check on some things. It's being under construction. So we're going to basically head there and stop. But this gives you an idea of just what it looks like to drive through certain areas of Evansville, Newburgh. But the sky is not completely falling, guys. It is shifting. So keep an eye, talk to a realtor, make sure you understand the pulse of what's going on and all the effects out there. You know, who knows what's going to happen in the next year. Things are changing. I don't think real estate's going to fall out of the sky, especially here in Indiana. You know, one thing good about Indiana, Kentucky is, you know, we're not a Phoenix. We're not a Miami. We're not a New York. We aren't like, you know, they have fast growth, right? Usually, most of those places. Typically, we do have appreciation, don't get me wrong, but it is nothing like those markets when they are on fire. Obviously, you can make a lot more money if you're investing in them, but you had to get out of them in time too. Whereas here, you know, typically, I mean, I've been in the market 20 years. Obviously, the last year, 20%. I meif it's crazy if you look at the last 2 years. What we've appreciated, but in history, we were lucky to get a few percent a year, if so, in regards to what our house prices went up. So I would say even with the markets where they're going, it would be very similar. Even with the higher prices we've seen in the last few years, I just don't think we're as crazy in fluctuation of values compared to some areas. So I feel like you're a little protected more here too with your investment in Indiana, Kentucky, more so than if you're in those, you know, really strong areas where they're gonna pop up and make a lot of value, more of like what I call quick money. So that's good. Okay, we're gonna take a right here. We're on Green River. Sorry, I'm not paying attention. And then we'll go up this way. So I'm just driving around. I'm not going through any subdivisions or anything. This is actually South Green River Road, guys. This area actually used to be probably more popular when I was younger in regards to shopping and all that. Green River is usually where a lot of the shopping is on the north side. But, you know, there's things that are definitely being developed from a commercial standpoint again, and rising here in this area, because there was the old Washington Square Mall, which is not as filled as it used to be, obviously, but you know, there's a lot of stuff down here. So, should you list your house? Yes. Do I have a crystal ball? I do not, but I am watching, and I will do more videos on the market and what my opinion is on it. I just think it's good to start watching, and sellers, listen to your realtors. As the market changes, they do know, they follow it, they understand, and so it's important that you you know, listen to them, because they do have their fingers on it. So, and buyers, get out there. I mean, interest rates have climbed, but they're nothing crazy. Like I said, I bought my first house and it didn't hurt me any. It just may be a little bit different in what you can afford, but you know your finances, and you know you do what's best for your family, and get out there. So from that said, I hope you liked my little market cap. I will do more. You know, I actually, since I talked about the world markets and all that stuff, I actually might do a video next just on all the things that are affecting us. I didn't dwell on that now. I was dwelling more on just sellers and buyers here in this market. What does it look like? Is it changing? Yes. But still think it's good. Get out there and just follow the direction of what is happening. And don't just pull a figure out of the air if you're listing. And don't get upset if your house hasn't sold in hours. That is not the market we are in anymore. Even 3 months ago, we are not in that market. It is changing as we speak. So I hope this was informative. I kind of was all over the board because I am driving. But I did want to at least get something out there, start talking a little bit more about it. Especially if you are coming to this area. If you're in this area, call me. I can, like I said, each subdivision, each town is even a little different, but I can dig in. We got realtors all over the southern Indiana, northern Kentucky area that we can assist you with, that are maybe experts more than me even in a certain area. But we can dig into subdivisions, we can dig into towns. You just call us, and I'd be happy definitely to assist in looking at the market changes and what it is looking like. Even the place where I live, you know, we only had a few listings. Now I'm seeing that climb. It's coming. So, you know, each subdivision may even be a little different. So make sure you reach out. We'd be happy to help. And just, you know, guide you through what's happening and where we're going. And, you know, like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, but things are shifting and we are there. So we can't ignore it. And want to be there to help you in really doing that. So I'm actually at our new office. See, we got a dumpster because I'm remodeling it. But hopefully this will be done in like 2 months, so you can come visit us if you're in the Evansville area. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Reach out, and I'd be happy to assist. 812-686-3268. And until next time, I'll see you then.